Hola, y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama, or maybe hide from your baby mama. Aha! Just kidding. But anyways, fans, thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching! And today we have a very special guest. It's one of my good friends. Give it up for Hasan. What's up, brother?
What's going on, my man?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. How's everything? How you been?
Everything good, man. You know, I'm happy. I got to reconnect with you. For my
Indeed.
fans out there, if they don't know, now you know. Like Biggie says, my boy and I, we go way back. We used to work together back in the days, and I gotta be honest, he's one of my true fans that watches the podcast. Like, I remember each episode, my boy would give me feedback like, hey, fam, I think you should add this, you should do this. And I like that because without feedback or even positive criticism, you can't grow because you don't see what you need to work on. You know what I'm saying?
It's a fact, man.
What about you, brother? What was your first impression when you met me?
I thought you were cool off the back, man. I thought you had a really good energy to you. You know, I'm pretty perceptive of a person's energy, like they say, first impression. And you just you had like this confidence to you, you know, and you were real friendly, real open and just friendly with everybody and spoke to everybody. And I said, this is a genuine guy. You know, he just came across real genuine, man. So we just clicked off the back, you know.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate it, brother. Now, brother, I do got to pick at your brain a little bit so my fans and my audience know you a little bit more. Tell us a little bit about your background, if you were born and raised in Vegas, and your hobbies.
So I was born in New York to Jamaican parents, Jamaican family. My sister and I and cousins, we're first generation born here in the States. So we were all born in New York. Moved from New York when I was small. You know, I grew up in a lot of places. I lived in a lot of places, man. So I did my early school years in South Carolina. You know, would go back to Jamaica in the summertime. I did a year of school in Jamaica, finished high school back in South Carolina. Right? Went to college in Kentucky. I lived in Alabama for a year. I lived in Miami. I moved here from Miami. I've lived overseas a little bit, you know. So yeah, that's as far as the place that I lived. That's it. And then now here, Vegas. I've been in Vegas since 2016. As far as hobbies go, love nature. I love hiking. I just did a hike early this morning, as a matter of fact. I love being out in nature, man. I love to swim. You know, I was on a swim team. My grandfather was a lifeguard, you know, when he was younger. So all of us had to know how to swim. So it was, you know, it was a prerequisite to be in the family. We all had to know how to swim. So love to swim, love to run, work out. I'm a big fan and believer in plant medicines and herbs and eating healthy. You know, big proponent of meditating. I love to meditate. I love to read and just self-improvement, you know, as well. But yeah, man, that's the gist.
I love it, man. Love it. I have to pick on a little bit about swimming. So look at this. A little from our people out there. So pretty much I got into a car accident. It was real bad. I was driving my way to rehearsal for this play that I was going to be, you know, the main lead role. And I'm on my way driving, and a homeless guy runs in front of the street. And me, as a good person, I was like, I don't want to or hurt him. So I braked real hard. The person behind me was just tailgating me the entire way, like even from the highway coming to the main street. She hit me in the car. And all I see my body go boom, you know, like I went forward, and I got out of the car, and she's like, man, what were you doing? I said, look, girl, I don't know if you saw, but there's the homeless guy that was running in front of the street. I literally saved his life. I didn't, hit him. So she wasn't paying attention. I could tell. And so it was crazy, fam. I got in a car accident. Now, I'm going to be honest, a few weeks went by and I started feeling pain in my back. And I was like, man, dude, I'm feeling hurt. And you're not going to believe this, but when I went to see a doctor came to my job. Crazy thing. I said, man, he's a doctor. Cool. I can ask him questions. When we used to work out, we get a lot of different people, right? So I find out he's a doctor. I said, yo, doc, I need to ask you a few questions. He goes, yeah, what happened? I told him the whole situation. I said, hey, you think my back's okay? He said, let me see. So I did some stretching. I said, like, I don't feel pain when I stretch or when I pick up the trunk of a car or anything. He goes, all right, cool. He said, do you feel like tingling in your knees or your legs? I'm like, nah, I don't feel, or even like your neck pain. He goes, nah. And so he says, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I could tell you didn't mess up your disc, but I can say it's going to take about 12 or 15 weeks for you to recover. Because the thing is, your back, it's hard to see the pain, right? But like, it's going to take time. So I'm like, oh, dang. So I went to go see a chiropractor. One of my acting coach, hey, go talk to this guy. I went to see the chiropractor. He did the x-ray. He didn't find nothing bad, but it's so cool with the x-ray. The chiropractor found one of my disc where it's not damaged, but it's supposed to look like a square, but it kind of looks like a little weird. And he said I could do some martial arts or some like where you had to fall on the ground. I was like, damn, you can figure that out. He's like, yeah, because when you hit the floor a lot, it does, even though you don't feel pain from fall to the ground with the mat, it does push a little bit of your back. I had no idea, fam. I was like, dang, you could figure it out. And I didn't tell him, but I was like, yeah, I did martial arts. I did a lot of, jiu-jitsu and taekwondo. So it was a lot of grappling, especially in competitions. And so I'm like, damn, brother, you hit it on point. And he said the same, like, look, I don't see no disc messed up. It's going to take about 12 weeks. But he did tell me the secret to pain in your back is swimming. So I started taking medication, right? I was taking medication. I was taking, the ice and hot for your back.
Oh, yeah.
So I was doing everything, bro, by the book. I wasn't drinking liquor because I was like, yo, I'm taking medication to get better with my back. Nothing was working, brother. I felt the same when I stopped taking medicine. I was like, man, so I started swimming, right? And honestly, within a month, brother, I can sleep perfect now.
Yeah, man. Swimming is it's low impact. It's great, man. That's why you'll see, folks well up in age in the pool doing their thing. Yeah, I love this one, man. And what you said as far as the back injury with martial arts, man, this was like 3 weeks ago. I went into the jiu-jitsu class, right? And I thought I was in shape, but man, it showed me there were muscles I didn't even know I had because first of all, I got tapped by everybody. I was just in there like just getting tapped left and right. So we're doing the exercise. I didn't realize how tight my hips were. But then also, they had us doing a warm-up. So you just fall on your back, and man, for like a week afterwards, like I had back pain. I had to go get a massage and hips too. So yeah, I know what you mean, man.
So it's real. It's real, brother.
Definitely.
That's why it's so important to swim. Like I realize is the only exercise I can say that works the entire body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your legs, your arms, your breathing. Like I'm learning. I know you're a better swimmer. I could tell you because, brother, I just got back swimming. So ain't no way I'm better than you. You way 10 times better. But the people I swim with, I made friends at the pool. They're like real hardcore. They used to compete. And it's so cool to see that. And he was telling me a story how one of his friends is a Navy SEAL expert. He was, and he was a swimmer. He said that to pass the test for Navy SEAL, you have to be able to swim there and back,
Mm-hmm.
one lap without getting air. Like, you know how you
How
go
long is
up the
the
gear?
yeah?
Um,
How long is the how
so
many
the
feet they got to go without
so
taking a breath?
the so a lap is technically, you probably know the map. How long is
Oh, just one lap in the pool. Oh, okay, okay, I
yeah,
got you.
yeah.
I
But you
got you.
gotta go
Without
there
taking a breath.
without taking a break, going there and come back. That's one lap.
Yeah, that's different.
That's hardcore. I was like,
Yeah.
dang. And with this guy that I'm with, right? He's been training with that dude, and
Mm.
he can do it. Boom, boom, like there and back, boom. And he's so strong. And I was like, man, it's crazy because the thing about Navy SEAL is they train you to hold your breath so long, because if you get off the boat and you're like, or like if you're like a, let's say, a secret agent, right, for the military, and you're trying to sneak into, let's say, an enemy's boat, you have to be able to hold your breath for a long time, because if you come out of the water, the enemy can see you and you're
Spotted.
screwed.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So
Right. Game over.
game over. You lost the
Yeah.
mission. Like James
Right.
Bond says.
Right. 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 Right.
So it's over, but it's so cool. And I've been training with him. Like I've been coming every like 4 days a week, swimming
That's dope.
laps. I'm doing 12 laps, man. I'm working on it. You know, my goal is to do 20 laps. Like, and it is a process, fam. One thing I could say too is when you do swimming and you go home, you don't feel sore like when you do heavy lifting.
Right. Yeah. It's been a while since I've since I moved out of here, I haven't swam like I used to. You know, when I was living in Miami, man, I was swimming all the time. But yeah, man, I love it. I love it, man. Get you in great shape, you know, and like you said, you're able to get in good shape without that doing something low impact. So it's easier on your joints. You know, it's great rehab work, as you know. So yeah, man, shout out to swimming.
Right? You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And I do gotta say one little fact before
Mm.
I change the subject. But you know, Michael Phelps, one of the best swimmers of all times. You already know.
One of the best athletes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hands down. I saw a video on YouTube. I forgot how many calories he had. I think he had a.
Yes.
You saw it? Did you see what I'm talking
Bro,
about?
he eats like a Thanksgiving dinner every day.
Day. And he has to have, I think it's almost, I think if I'm not mistaken, at least maybe
Like
10,000,
12,000.
12,000
Yeah, it was
calories
something.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
And the reason why, because he trains the morning, the daytime, and at night, and he burns it. You know he's gonna burn
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So it's so inspiring to see someone so athletic and the things they can eat. I was like, man, I wish I could eat what he could eat, you know, and
Yeah.
not gain so much weight.
Yeah. His furnace is just just always burning, man. You know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
brother. Now I do gotta ask you, fam. Now, this is a very good topic because I know you, my brother, and I we have a lot to share. You have a lot of wisdom, and fam, I want to ask about relationship. That's a big one. What can you share from your experience about life? You know how finding the clues of things if they don't work out.
Um, Man, that's the topic of discussion in my life right now, man. So, uh, being that I'm recently divorced, right? I had a lot of time of reflection, and a lot of self-reflection, and I feel like when something happens at first, like, okay, you want to point the finger at the other person, and then you're blaming yourself, and then it's like, okay, we both had a part to play. So I got to the point where, you know, as they say, it takes two to tango. So we both had our part to play in things, but I'm just really concerned on what I did and what I can learn from it, right? So where do I even start? So I would say one thing that I really realized is the ultimate betrayal is self-betrayal. That's the real betrayal of self-betrayal. And I mean, a lot of times in relationships, I feel like it's easy to get complacent. It's easy to get comfortable in a relationship and stop working on yourself, and stop showing up for yourself and stop stop growing, right? And that's a form of self-betrayal, right? Putting too much into a relationship and not building yourself up, because it takes two whole people to be in a successful relationship, I feel. And I feel like a lot of times it's easy to get into a relationship because you're trying to like fill a void, but you can't do that. You can't another person can't make you whole. And I feel if you go into a relationship thinking like that, you're setting yourself up for a fall ultimately, you know. So yeah, that's one thing I took out of it, man. The importance of just building yourself and showing up for yourself, and not putting too much in the other person, because it's not fair to them also. If you have this void and you're not complete with yourself, expecting somebody else to fill that it's not fair to them as well, because that's a heavy burden to have to carry.
Wow. It's deep, fam. There's a famous book that I've read, one of my favorite books of all time, that actually my mom made me read for summer when I was young. It was called The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. Have you read that book, brother?
No, but I know him from the Four Agreements.
Oh, my baby! Oh, he had me with the uppercut. Bam!
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. I thought I had a chance to block it, but I didn't have a chance. So yeah, same author. So this book, he talks about different examples about love, which is deep. I'm gonna share it real quick. So one of the chapters talked about the man who didn't believe about love. I was like, oh, cool. I mean, at that time, I didn't believe in love too. So I'm like, let me read it. So
he's talking about me. What is this? Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. Got my little highlighter back in the days, when people used to read books, they had highlighters.
Taking notes.
Yeah.
Right.
Now it's everything on Google.
Audio book.
It ain't the same. So I'm reading, and this guy basically said love doesn't exist. He said that love, his analogy was that love is like a drug. You crave it and you want it and you become addicted to it. I was like, dang, he's smart. I'm taking notes. I was like, yo, let me write this down. Okay. And then he said, but I don't believe love exists. And everyone thought he was crazy. And one day he walks down the street, and he sees a really pretty woman who's crying. And automatically he felt like I should ask what's going on. And he goes, Miss, is everything okay? And she goes, I'm crying. And she's crying, right? And she's saying,
hysterical.
Right, you like that? That was pretty good. She's like, I don't believe in love. And he goes, what? And so he's curious now. This lady just said she don't believe in love. So he wants to know more. And she goes, yeah, I don't believe love exists. I was married to a man for about a couple years. The reason why I stayed in a relationship because we had kids. And I felt like I don't want my kids to grow up without a father. That's why I stayed. But then when the kids grew up, they left the house. I felt like there was no need for me to stay because I wasn't in love anymore. And I realized love doesn't exist. So he heard that and he was like, wow, that's a very interesting, perspective. So they become friends, right? They become best friends. They're hanging out. They have so much in common, by the way. And then one day, after a couple years being friends, he has this feeling he can't explain. And he goes to her. He's like, look, girl, I got to tell you, I don't know how to tell you, but I got to tell you that you might make fun of me. But you know how I say I don't believe in love and love don't exist. I'm in love with you. And she goes, I'm going to be honest with you too. The first day I met you at the bench and you came to me and asked me how I was doing, I was crying. I was in love with you the moment you talked to me. But she's like, it was a feeling I couldn't explain. I try to hide it, right? I try to hide it. So next they get together, they get married. But one of the last parts of the story is that they're outside in the balcony and they're looking at the stars. and he grabs the star, right, and gives the star to her, holds on to the star, and she actually drops it and it shatters. And so the end of the book, it kind of leaves you off like, what happened? What does it mean? And he gets into detail, but I'm going to kind of paraphrase. And this is what I remember from the book. So basically, the message was the star represent his happiness. He relied his happiness on his partner. The reason why she dropped it, because she realized she can't hold on all to his happiness. She's not perfect. So it's shattered. And so in life, you have to realize that, yes, that person can make you happy, but they cannot complete you. They can't. You have to also remember and that if it's God or something, that is what completes you, right? That's the fulfillment that the biggest mistake we hear couples say all the time. They complete me totally.
Right.
They don't. They're a part of your happiness. That's the secret. Part of your happiness. The moment when you say they complete you, you put them in the pedestal where they're perfect. And the moment when they make a mistake, you get shattered. Deep, right?
No, I agree, man. I agree. And I feel also like, I think a lot of times, you got to ask somebody what their definition of love is too. Because what somebody might call love is not really love. It could be lust, it could be infatuation, it could be possessiveness. It's like, how do you know it's true love? It's like, for instance, right? If let's say a kid, outside playing, they see a flower, right? And they like the flower. Oh, I love this flower, right? And you pick the flower up and take it home, put it in a glass, right? It dies, right? You love it. You want to be around it. You want to, but I feel true love would be, watering it and nurturing it and not trying to really change it. It's one of those words that get tossed around without, okay, somebody says that, well, okay, what is your definition of love? Like, what does that mean to you? How do we know we're on the same page of what that word means, But yeah, I like that story. I agree. Putting too much on your partner is unfair to them as it is to you.
Yeah. Very true, brother.
Yeah, man. It's relationships is something else, man.
Here's the thing, man. You don't know until you try. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm gonna be real. One of my psychologists said to me, we're still till this day, I go to him for any, consultation if I need some help. He said to me, for every relationship brings a different type of love. So the one you have with your ex, right, is not the same type of love from the previous relationship.
Okay.
It's different. And I never saw it that way. I thought it was deep. And it just shocked my mind. It's a very powerful thing he said. And it's true. A lot of times we get so excited about a relationship. We want to put all our investment into them. But what I realized in life, you have to be careful. One thing you have to realize is how are they with their family, with their mom? Are they have a tight relationship? That's a big one. If not,
that's important.
You're about to jump into a dysfunctional family. Right. There's a famous singer. I love this guy. He's one of my favorite singers. I wish he was still making music, but he stopped. Do you remember Life Jennings?
Life Jennings.
Yeah.
Must be nice. Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Every time I
what happened to him, man?
Yeah. I don't know what he did, man. I think he never woke up, or he just went so. I don't know what he did, man. Yeah. He probably went to Chuck E. Cheese, or I don't know where he went, But
shout out to Life Jennings, man.
Yeah. He's a one-hit wonder, but he had a lot of gifts. I think his music. There's a song he made. It was called, I think, 21. I think it was 21, or I forgot, but the name of the song talks about how you gotta watch out if you're dating a person without a father, and he breaks it down each lyric, and how you gotta be careful who they are. And it's so deep because it's talking about before you get married, the things you have to watch out from. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think a big important fact too is foundation. You have to have a strong foundation. They have to be your best friend too, because if they weren't your best friend, it's a little hard. It's not your right to die. You know, a best friend, she got your back. You know what I'm saying? If you fall, she'll help you get up. One of the best analogies or an examples I learned from one of my mentors was, if you come home drunk, right? You had a rough day. You had drunk. I'm not saying you do this all the time, but you got drunk. Your girl is there. She's making sure you're in a cold shower. She's taking care of you. She's giving you chicken noodle soup with a soda on the side.
Soda on the side.
Yeah. She making sure you good, and she's not mad at you. You know, she's understand. You know, you had a rough day, and this is not something you do on a regular basis. She's taking care of you just like you would do for her. You see what I'm saying?
Reciprocity, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. That's the most powerful thing about love. Another example is one of my she's like a second mom to me. She said to me one time that and I was talking to her on the phone. Her name is Ann. She said to me, David, I'm happy right now. You're not married right now. And I said, why? Why you say that? Because, you know, I think that first you need to build your empire. You need to be successful when it comes down to money, financially. When you do that, buy your house, then you're willing to provide for your queen.
Right.
You can say, come to my empire. You know, you now money won't be an issue when we get married, because she gave me an example how a lot of people get married, but they become broker than when they were single. Because they, you know what I'm saying? You're always worried about money. I don't have enough to do this. I don't have enough. She's like, look at me. I've never missed your basketball games growing up. I've never missed your report cards. I was always there. When you had a big production or a big play, or even when you perform with the trumpet, you know, I did one performance with a trumpet for the whole school. She was always there. I never had a worry she wasn't going to come. And she's like, the reason why, because I had the money and I was my own boss. I never had to request, oh, hey boss, you don't mind if I leave early? Hey boss, can I take a time, you know, use a PTO, or, you know, so I could actually go to my kid's game? Never made that excuse, because money wasn't a problem. So she told me that you have to think that way. And I love her advice, because how can I provide to somebody if I'm struggling? You know, I can't.
Right.
I have to help myself first. And then if my queen is willing to be with me, she's gonna be like, damn, my king is already established.
Right.
Now all we have to work on is helping us get there. So it's a nice thing that I gotta share. I really like what she said. Real quick, it looks like Zoom's about to kick me out. But one last thing real quick, I'm gonna share before I say bye. But she said one last thing was, when I got married to my husband asked me to marry him. And I said, I can't get married until I graduate. I have to finish school. He waited for her. They were still together. And she graduated, became her own CEO, had her own company. And they, instead of buying a house, they bought a place and reconstructed their house together. Hire an architect to put how they wanted. They basically designed the house together. They decided, okay, we want the beds here, we want the basement here.
That's dope.
It's beautiful. I've never heard any story like that, where a man waited for his wife to be successful, and then they got married. She's like, wait for me until I get my stuff together. And it's beautiful. And I love that, man. I had to share that.
No, that was an excellent point you made as far as building an empire, man, because they say, finances are one of the major reasons that couples break up. But also what you said reminded me of a sermon that I heard. There's a pastor named Miles Monroe. He was a pastor out of the Bahamas. He passed back in 2014. But recently I went back and was watching his old videos. But he talks about, he takes the story of Genesis, right? And the creation of man and of Adam and Eve. And he relates it to relationship between men and women and setting a foundation, like you said, right? So he talks about how when God created Adam, right, and took him from the dust of the earth and then blew breath into his lungs, how he had him close to him, right? And then after that, he had him in the garden in Eden, right? And he had him, naming the animals and just tilling the land. And then after that, after Adam was tilling the land and he was going to work, he said that Adam was so busy doing his work, his purpose, he didn't even realize he's by himself. And then God said, listen, it's not good for man to be alone. And then from that, he created Eve out of the rib, right? So he takes that story and he says, listen, if you follow that sequence, he says, your first priority, and this was a sermon he was doing directed towards men. So he says, a man's first purpose, right, should be their relationship with God, their spirituality, right? That should be your first purpose, or your first priority. And then after that, it should be work. What do you, what's your purpose? What do you do? Like, how are you going to provide, like you said? And then after you've established your relationship with God, and then you have a foundation where you're able to provide, then that's when you're able to, as you said, entertain a woman into your life and take care and provide. Right. So I thought that was profound. I thought that was profound. And I was like, that's a good order. That's a good order to be in. And then he also said to the women, he said, listen, if you find a man and you like him and he says he loves you, so you should ask them, well, how is your relationship with God? What kind of spiritual relationship foundations do you have, right? He said, also, you want to make sure that this man's able to provide, that he's working, right? And again, he took that from the creation story out of Genesis and he related it to relationship today. So I thought that was real profound.
Indeed, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys, this is the Outlet to Reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching. Y'all know where to find me. Y'all know where to find me. I'm on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, the Outlet to Reality. On Snapchat is Take One Pass It. And my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And fam, where can my fans find you?
You can find me on Instagram. Keep it organic. Keep _ organic with a 0 instead of an O. You can catch me on there. And then you can also catch me at CMOS Prime. All right. Get your CMOS, get your lemonade, get your bottles. That's the business page. You can also catch me there also.
That's what's up, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you.